For as long as we've been around, we've been looking up at the stars, consulting oracles, analyzing data, all just to answer one simple, nagging question: what's going to happen next? But what if the biggest parts of your future were already locked in? Not by the stars, but by the very code of reality itself. It's an idea that, honestly, kind of messes with everything we think we know about destiny and our own choices.
And look, this isn't just some late-night philosophical game. This question gets to the very heart of who we are. So really think about it for a second. Is your life just a random series of events and choices you make? Or are you, in some way, following a script that was handed to you the moment you were born? Well, this idea, this potential script, it actually has a name. It's called the reality groove. The basic concept is that your life has a certain path, a certain flavor, that was imprinted on it right from the very beginning. It's a wild idea, for sure, but to even start to wrap our heads around this groove, we've got to ask a much, much bigger question first. To get what the groove is, we first have to figure out, what's the stage? I mean, what is this reality we're all playing a part in? Turns out, there are three really compelling models that try to explain the whole shebang. Okay, first up is the one you've probably heard of, the simulation hypothesis. In this model, our entire universe is basically a hyper-advanced computer program. Everything we see, everything we touch, everything we feel, it's all just unbelievably complex code running. Now, if you buy into this model, it totally changes how you think about destiny. A reality groove isn't some mystical fate. Nope, it's just a clever piece of programming. Think of it like a data compression technique, a shortcut for the system to save on processing power by laying out a probable, predictable story arc for each of us. But what if reality isn't just ones and zeros? What if it's something else entirely? Model 2 suggests that reality is a huge, vibrant field of pure energy and awareness. In this view, the world isn't pre-built. It's more like a sea of infinite potential that only becomes real when we actually look at it. So, in this energy matrix, a reality groove is like your own personal radio frequency. It's a potentiality waveform. It doesn't write out an exact script for your life, but it makes certain events and experiences way more likely to happen, just because they resonate with the unique vibration you started with. All right, our third model takes us way back, pulling from ancient Buddhist philosophy. In this framework, reality, or samsara, isn't run by some external programmer in the sky. It's a self-running simulation, driven from the inside by the endless chain of cause and effect, or karma, that's generated by every single one of us. So, whether our reality is code, or energy, or a karmic cycle, the next big question is exactly the same. What's the mechanism, what's the trigger that locks this path in right at the very beginning? Right. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If this groove is real, there has to be a process, some moment of initialization. And the theory gives us two parallel answers, one coming from the outside and one from the inside. And what's so fascinating is that we get these two different explanations that are really like two sides of the exact same coin. One points to an external factor, like a cosmic timestamp. The other points inward, to our own accumulated history. Let's break down what that actually means. Okay, let's start with the external one. It's called the archetypal harmonic lock. Now, before you think of old-school astrology, just pause. Think of the planets more like giant quantum clocks. At the exact moment you're born, your specific alignment creates a totally unique energy signature in space-time. And your consciousness, as it enters reality, locks onto that frequency, which imprints the core themes of your life, like a learning curriculum. And then you've got the internal lock. According to Buddhist philosophy, the very last thought moment you have in one life, which is shaped by a whole lifetime of actions or karma, becomes the direct cause for the very first moment of consciousness in the next life. This relinking consciousness acts like a bridge, carrying forward all your habits and potentials, setting up your starting conditions from within. Okay, deep breath. Because if our path is set, either by cosmic clocks or our own past actions, that leads to the biggest, most personal question of all, right? Are we just puppets on a string? What happens to free will? I mean, this is where your brain probably goes next, doesn't it? If there's a preset pathway, then what's the point of my choices? Am I just along for the ride? Well, what's so interesting is that the theory's answer is a clear no. It's not about being locked into an unchangeable fate. It's more of a middle ground, a concept called soft determinism. And it's a really elegant way of making room for both a predetermined structure and our own meaningful choices. This is probably the best way to think about it. Your reality groove sets the genre of your life's play. Are you in a comedy, a tragedy, a grand epic adventure? That general framework is set. But you, the actor, still have total freedom over how you deliver every single line, how you react in every scene. The moment-to-moment script is yours to write. All right, now let's get a little sci-fi with it. If this theory is even remotely true, what happens when humanity figures out how to actually manipulate the system? What if we could engineer the moment of birth to create a so-called better life? Man, the ethical minefield here is just staggering. For starters, you'd create what's called an equity paradox, a new class system of the optimized versus the naturals. You could also trigger evolutionary stagnation. I mean, if you design lives without any challenges, how does anyone grow? And, maybe worst of all, you might just be artificially delaying essential life lessons, just kicking that karmic can down the road instead of dealing with it. So, after all of this, all these huge cosmic ideas, where does that leave you and me? Right here? Right now? What's the ultimate takeaway for navigating our own lives? You might think the goal is to figure out how to cheat the system, right? How to game it, so you get the best possible starting conditions for your next life. But this whole theory suggests that completely misses the point. Because the real endgame isn't about getting a better role in the play. It's about realizing you're an actor on a stage and gaining the freedom to just walk off it entirely. In Buddhist philosophy, this is called nibbana, or liberation. The ultimate goal isn't to optimize your character inside the simulation, it's to transcend the simulation itself. And that brings us to this final, really powerful conclusion. The most effective way to shape your reality doesn't have anything to do with some future tech that can manipulate birth charts. It's about the choices you make right here, right now. It's about cultivating a life of skill and ethics and mindfulness in this very moment. That is how you truly navigate your group. So, at the end of the day, maybe the genre of your play is already set. The stage might be a simulation, a field of energy, who knows? But the performance, that is all you. You are the actor. And the question that leaves for all of us is, how are you going to choose to play your part?